Now we're cooking. All right. Except for hit that mute button on my computer there. There you go. Thank you, Brate. All right. Rolling. Testing. All right. Luisha says thanks. He must be getting it. All right. Super. Well, I am monitoring my phone for Telegram and text messages, and I'm also monitoring the YouTube, the Facebook, and the Twitch stream right now. Julio says, what has happened to you guys? Bunch of crazy people. So yeah, feel free to add a comment or say so, and it'll be good. We're going to have the next 15 minutes. We're going to have Otvorny Dialogue, which is open questions. And so we have our board here. So here's a couple questions that I took from the board, and I'm going to try to answer them here, and then we'll add some more questions. So, you ready? You scared? Because here's the first question. Are lizard people real? Did it translate okay, Julio? Lizard people. Yeah. Do you have lizard people in Mexico? Lizard people. Do you have any weird things like this in Russia? No? Like these, what are they called? Not paranoid things, but conspiracy theories. A lot of... Too cold for lizard people. Do you have some kind of haunted medved that steals children from the houses? Do you really? No haunted bears. Okay. No, you have yetis. Yeah, like what's the yeti? The Russian yeti, like the snow monster. He.
They're friends. They're friendly.
All right. Well, we'll deal with the lizard people at the end here. So let's do that one last. First one I have here.
Lizard people is popular with Russian people, I think.
Really?
Well, as far as conspiracy theories go.
Lizard people.
Люди ящерицы у нас же есть.
Is this real? Is this a real thing?
У нас в церкви один брат был.
In church we had one brother.
Вся семья у него верующая, люди из мира. И у него зрачки был как у змеи зрачок.
He had a pupil like a snake.
И ему было очень неудобно, потому что когда разговариваешь, ты видишь не круглый, вот реально мы с ним общались, у него такой вот прям вот такой.
And he was embarrassed because whenever you talk to him, you really see
his eyes vertical.
Weird guy.
И он всегда стеснялся из-за этого, как бы такой скромный. Хотя сам бывший военный и умный очень человек.
Even though he's a very smart
Хороший
person,
брат. Такой.
Wow. Epheme says that there's a lot of those things, a lot of memes in Russia. So, yeah. All right. Well, there's a thought of Freemasonry. So we have Masons, we have Illuminati, right? And then we have Rotary. You know what these things are?
I don't know what Rotary is.
Rotary. So, do you have Freemasonry in Russia? I'm sure in Mexico you guys have Freemasons and
В России официально есть масоны.
Masons
Официально. Они зарегистрированы,
They're
официально партия.
registered. They're a real
Они
deal.
скрываются, и они говорят, мы русские масоны правильные, а вот какие там во Франции, это все типа неправильные.
The Russian Masons say they are true Masons.
The real ones.
The real
Я
Of
даже
course,
недавно
of course.
слышал,
The Russian Masons are the real Masons. Yeah, no. Hey,
диалог с масоном, я был очень удивлен. То есть,
I would not want to.
I've heard of someone speaking to
да,
Mason.
есть русское масонство. То есть они верят в Бога
They believe in God.
Uh-huh.
официально. Значит, у них, вот среди русских масонов, у них нет неверующих атеистов. Их нет.
They don't have
Они не
atheists.
принимают таких.
They don't have
They
atheists.
don't accept atheists.
Really? Yeah. I would not want to mess with a Russian Mason, that's for sure. Well, we're going to answer these as much as I can. So, is Freemasonry, the Illuminati, the question is, do they control the world? Okay. Controlling the world. Um, okay, I think we should be good. There's a Bible verse that I want to bring up here. It's 2 Timothy 1:7. 2 Timothy 1:7. It says that God has not given us the spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. There's those conspiracy theories that Freemasonry, that the Illuminati, all these things rule the world. And, I don't know enough to say that they may or they may not. I really don't know about all that. But I do know this. My response to it should not be paranoia, right? It should not be going about my day wondering who rules the world, right? I think the biblical response is to vote, to do the best you can, but then understand that God rules. And we talked about this morning. He who letteth will let. So Freemasonry is a real thing. I think my own grandfather used to be a Shriner. I remember going to Georgia, and I remember seeing the symbolism. I don't remember what type it was, if it was like the thing. What is it? So it's a lot of construction looking stuff. So my grandfather was a Shriner, and I'm not sure the connections with all that. But we do know the Bible says the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men. So God rules this world, right? Even though the devil feels like he rules and men feel like they can control it, in the reality, it's God that does it. In Ephesians 6, it says, we wrestle not against flesh and blood. So there's darkness, there are powers, there is wicked, evil stuff on this earth. But again, going back to the Bible, we're not supposed to be controlled by fear, right? God has not given us that spirit of fear, but of love and of a sound mind. So don't let it affect you. If there's these things moving through the world, what's the one? Black Rock and all these things, and there's nothing that we can do about that. If it's true, hey, God knows and God can deal. It's interesting, though, that even, what's the man's name? That was, I believe it was in Daniel's day, or maybe Jeremiah's day, he was the ruler of Persia. Is it not Darius? I can't remember the right ruler. I can't remember off the top of my head. But basically, someone can fix this in the comments, but it was the man who allowed, was it Zechariah, to go back and build the temple, right? And so God can change the hearts of kings. Dario. Ephraim says Dario. What did you say? Dario. So this Persian Gentile king changed his mind and was able to start helping build God's work, right? So even if, say, there is some Masonic Illuminati who's president of some Rotary Club, part lizard man, okay? I believe God can change him in the future, So I wouldn't get paranoid over all that stuff. It can be, but there's a lot of darkness out there, a lot of weird, wicked stuff out there. So the solution is sound mind. Don't let it affect you. Don't get paranoid all over these things. The next one is about flying. Okay, this is on our board. Will we fly in heaven? Will we fly in heaven? Will we have wings? Right? If we have wings, will they be like chicken wings, or what kind of wings will they be, do you think? Well, we don't find any evidence that we as humans, or even in our next bodies, that we are going to fly. I believe the Bible teaches that in Genesis, God created man in the image of God. So the way that we look, the way that we operate is we're made in God's image. And when he finished all that, he said this, it is good. And he said it was very good. So God made us the way he wants us to be. And why would he make us any different in a second body? I believe our second body or our new body is going to be very similar to what we have now. You know, our bodies that we have, it's going to be new, sinless, unstained body. Okay. So that's, I believe, what we're going to have and what we're going to be. The Bible, some people talk about angels and angels flying. Yes, but humans, no, not so much. The Bible says in 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verse 44, we shall be like him, for we shall see him as he is. It's a glorified body. Even John, 1 John chapter 3, verse 2, talks about this. It doth not yet appear what we shall be. But when we see him, we shall be like him, right? We shall know him. So the concept that I think is the best idea is to focus on heaven, not on fantasies or a lot of the strange spiritualism that's out there. So no, I don't believe we're going to fly. There's going to be a new heaven. There's going to be a new earth. And what sometimes I used to get messed up in my child mind is that I thought I was going to spend eternity in a place called heaven. Right? That's just my thought in space somewhere. But really, after growing a little bit in the Lord, I realized that God's going to make a new earth. And that's his final plan. He's going to make it new, restore it, not restore it, wrong word, make it new, right? And so I believe eternity is going to look a lot like, there'll be a lot of similarities to what you're experiencing now. Trees, sky, clouds, right? Waters, the beauty of creation. We have a television going here, and we can see the creation behind us, you know. That's, I believe, what's going to be a lot like the end. But flying, not so much. I did miss one here. I was thinking about Lubisha. Rotary. He mentioned something about rotary. I looked it up a little bit, and I think there's a difference between Serbian rotary and what they would have in the U.S. There's nothing wrong with being part of something. If somebody makes you do some kind of, how do you say, like a vow or a pledge, like promising secrecy and all this stuff, that's probably not a good idea. I would venture to say you should probably stay away from those things. Anything that's meant to be secretive, right, that deals in spiritual secretism, that's probably not a good idea, right? I think the Bible's very clear about things that should be done open. You know, we do a lot of stuff on YouTube. You can see our lives and whatnot. So I think openness is the best. And I think whenever you start getting into secretism and that dark stuff, it's definitely not a good idea. So I think from what I was hearing from others, the Serbian Rotary has some of that stuff, maybe, but the Rotary clubs in the U.S., from my knowledge, correct me in the comments or whatever, but I don't see anything. You just have to be careful no matter what you do. There's always going to be new things that happen. Just be very careful in that. So flying, no, we're not going to be flying. I don't believe we're going to be flying. I don't think there's any biblical evidence for that as well. All right. Here it is. This is the Serbian Rotary Club. Is it the same in America as it is in Serbia? So in the U.S., Rotary service is some kind of club. All right. I don't think there's anything wrong with being part of a club. Right. I was part of a golf club when I was in the U.S. Okay. We just got together. You paid your rent or your dues to help take care of green fees and stuff like that. So clubs aren't inherently wrong, but it's what happens inside those clubs. You know, if you come home to your wife and she asks you, so what happened? What did you do? And you have to say, I can't talk about it. there's probably a problem, So no, I don't think that's a good idea to be part of a secret society. All right. And I think that's maybe what they were talking about with the Serbian Rotary. There's like a secret society of world movers type of concept. But typically, the U.S. Rotaries, their focus was on networking and charity. They don't take oaths and they don't do rituals. So maybe there's a difference there. But I don't think for the American side of it, I don't think it's too big of an issue. But I don't know much about it. The Bible says in 1 Thessalonians chapter 5 to prove all things and hold fast that which is good. It's important that we keep a good testimony as Christians. Speaking of this last one as well, when it comes to the lizard people, Christians ought not be people who believe every little conspiracy theory and every little doomsday concept, because the more paranoid you are and the more that you give in to these things, it just does not do good for your testimony, right? People are going to think you're strange anyways, that you believe in this God who saves, right? You don't need to add insult to injury to believing that there's lizard people walking the earth, or that there's aliens came down and began to build the pyramids. You believe that though, don't you? It's a secret. It's part of your secret society, isn't it? There's a lot of unknown things, but as far as being paranoid, who's going to rule the world, what are we going to do about it? We have to, don't buy coffee from Starbucks because of the Illuminati. I would not give much thought into the conspiracy theories of this world. We do have the question on the board we'll get to sometime, and maybe Sergey can answer it for us. Is the earth flat? So we'll talk about that at some point. Not tonight. So when we're done here, us guys are going to get together and talk more about these topics. But the last question is, are lizard people real? This is the one you've been waiting on. What do you think?
Did you interview Mark Zuckerberg for that?
I was actually in a secret society club where Mark Zuckerberg spoke at, and no, I'm just kidding. No, I think these are all myths. These are not biblical truths. There's no such thing as lizard people. As fun as that would be to believe, no, I don't believe there is lizard people. Specifically speaking from the Bible, God created man in the image of him. There are no subspecies of humans. There are no second kinds of humans. There are just humans, right? And so God created us in his image. There are there's no evidence for reptilian type of humans. So anyways, believe in truth, not online conspiracies. Genesis 1, verse 27 says it. God created man in his image. And so I don't believe there's anything out there like lizard people. Now, if I get abducted in the middle of the night, right, it's either the U.S. or it's lizard people. It could be either one. It could be aliens. So I just say that to say that as a Christian, we do have a testimony. And the conspiracy theories, the paranoia that you allow into your life affects not just you, but it affects people around you. Right? And if you start getting into all these crazy concepts, people are going to look at you and start to, it's not a beneficial thing. Okay, well, I think that's it on our 4 questions for today. So I'll mark those off. Some other questions that we'll get into next time, perhaps, is what we have on here. We have hell or annihilation. That's one we'll have Gleb do at some point. You can talk about this. We have Joseph. I don't know if we talked about that. The Joseph and Mary. So Mary, the mother of Jesus. Did Joseph have 2 wives? Was Mary a perpetual virgin? Is she still a virgin today, living in heaven? Is she still having spirit babies while she's up there? No. So anyways, and then we have things like Bible reading habits. We can talk about some of those as well. That's it. And we're going to get off here and talk here, but God bless you guys. And feel free to drop a comment, or if you've got some other information that I need to know, feel free to let me know. God bless. We'll see you guys next time. Ciao.